Quick reminders for our media members before we get started. We ask that you please silence your cell phones. Again, video recording is not allowed. Still photography is fine. And if you do have a question for coach or players, please just do raise your hand. We will bring you over a microphone. Please identify yourself with your name and media affiliate. As we are hybrid, we have some folks on Zoom as well today. For them, they can use the raised hand function on Zoom, and we'll be able to call on them as well. Just another minute here, and we will bring in on Coach. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Our final press conference of our regional round today. The Indiana Hoosiers, the number 3 seed, who has knocked off Charlotte and Princeton to advance to face number 2 UConn tomorrow at 2 p.m. Head coach Terry Morin, could you please start us off with your opening statement?
Well, it's good to be here in Bridgeport. We have an excited group that is ready to get out there on the floor here in a few minutes and get some shots up. It's been a long morning for the Hoosiers. Chomping at the bit to get out there and come back tomorrow at 2 p.m. to play a great team that we have great respect for. It's the first time we've ever played UConn, and so I think it'll be an exciting game for spectators. I know there's going to be a lot of fans, probably not as many Indiana fans as there will be UConn, but that's okay. We've been battle tested throughout the season, and this group has played in front of other big crowds because of our conference. So, like I said, we're excited to be here and ready to get going.
Thank you very much, Coach. As always, for our media members, please just raise your hand. We'll bring you over a microphone, and we can get your questions. Please just do identify yourself and affiliate. We'll start up front in the middle here.
Hey, Coach. Doug Feinberg, the AP. It's strange to think that you guys have never played UConn before. When you watch them on film, I'm sure you've seen them in other times when you could. What's it like to know you're facing a team that's won the most ever and everything in women's hoops?
Well, again, just the other night when they won, I think it went across the screen their 28th trip, right, the Sweet 16. So Doug, we obviously, like I said, we have a tremendous amount of respect for Gino and Chris and his staff and his players. That they've been the bar in women's basketball, for some time, and if you're not having to compete against them, you really enjoy watching them play because they play at what I think is pretty basketball. And everybody likes to watch pretty basketball with their cutting and their ability to pass it and so forth. They have terrific players. We do know the magnitude of this game. We've been here before a year ago, and so we do feel like we do have some experience. As you all know, I have a veteran group, an experienced group. So I don't know if it does matter that it's UConn, but it could be any other name across the chest. We just know that we want to keep this thing going as long as we can. And but to say that we have tremendous amount of respect for UConn. We know the task, right? We know how big of a game this is.
Thank you, Coach. We'll keep it front row to the left here.
Matt Cohen, Indy Star. I guess looking at UConn, I asked Gino kind of about seeing Indiana rise as a program. He was talking a lot about how Indiana doesn't really get enough talk across the country. But for you, we talk so much about milestones. I guess what would a win over UConn represent for Indiana women's basketball?
Well, first of all, I appreciate Coach, saying that about our team, our program, the big, and so forth. I think, again, it'll just be another one of those milestones. You hit it. You said the word. We've had a lot of historic, we've done, moments in this program since we've been here in our 8 seasons. It would just be another thing certainly we could, check off. But we're not, we went down to the Virgin Islands a couple years ago and knocked off a really good South Carolina team. I think that was #1 in the country at the time. So, we've been in these big games and these big moments, and so I think it would just the only thing we're thinking about is if we win the next game, we get to a second Elite 8, and so that's what our focus is.
Keep it in the middle.
Amanda Foster, Indiana Daily Student. You've been able to rely on your bench a lot, especially in recent games. What does that mean going into a game of this nature to be able to turn to that bench when you want your starters to have some rest time?
Sure. Well, it's important. I think any team that's going to make a deep run in the tournament has to, have some depth. And, with Chloe, KB's been a little beat up, but Chloe has given us some really great minutes. We've had to play differently when Mac was out, so we've played big ball, we've played small ball, and so, it's nice to have the luxury of pieces that can come off your bench and help you.
We'll rush to the right. Roger.
Roger Cleveland from the Waterbury Republican American newspaper. Coach, how much have you relied on that experience you talked about, having 2 seniors, 2 grad students in the starting lineup, including Allie, who's been around college basketball 7 years?
Well, again, someone had asked me before I came just about the other night against the Princeton, great team. What did I find out about my team during that game or at the end of that game that I didn't already know? And there's not really an answer to that question other than because we've been paddle tested, because we're a veteran team, because we're an experienced team. This particular group has no panic in them. As long as there's time on the clock, we always feel like we're going to give ourselves a chance to win the game. And again, there's no substitute for experience. You can have great players. You can have, whether they're old, whether they're young, 5-star, 2-star, doesn't matter. The experience, I think, outweighs all of that when it comes down to some of those tight ball games. And we've been in a lot. And we've been able to rely on the fact that that experience that we have, can carry you pretty far.
Come back to the middle.
Hi, Coach. Jackie Powell with Bleacher Report. I'm curious as to how difficult it is to put together a game plan of a team that really hasn't shown the country maybe a complete version of who it is, with all of the injuries that UConn has endured during the season.
I think you just, whether their pieces have been in and out, I don't know that anything changes with them offensively in terms of tendencies. We're very specific when we go into our preparation, game planning for opponents, and we are all about the tendencies of the actions and certainly the players. But I think you just rely on that. We know offensively, they just play. They play ball, right? And it can look like a motion. It can look like a continuity. There's a lot of back cutting. There's a lot of handoffs. There's a lot of all of that. Some of that's hard to script in a practice. It's hard to simulate, even if you have great practice players. And so we watch a lot of film. We talk about tendencies. And then, you just show them, the personnel piece of it. And you try to find those clips, and maybe they're not playing, they haven't played together as a unit. and maybe they're not playing their best basketball. I don't know if that's the case or not. They're still really, really good. But for us, we really haven't had an issue in terms of what we think we're going to see tomorrow afternoon. Their discipline, and so I don't know that they're going to go away from what they've been doing this season, even with or without Paige, with or without AZ. I think what they're running is what we're going to see tomorrow.
Take it over to the right.
Yeah, Coach Kevin Brockway, CNHI. Coach, you discussed your respect for obviously UConn and Gino. I was just curious, maybe in your career, if earlier in your career, if you had any interactions with him or their staff or anything, clinics or anything of that nature, things maybe that you even picked up from their program.
Well, many years ago, when I started my coaching career at Butler, I worked for a lady by the name of June Olkowski, who just happened to play basketball at Rutgers with Chris Daly. And so I've known CD for a long time. Gino and I have ran into each other. We spent some time out in Colorado Springs, I think in probably 17, 18, when we had a player out there that was trying out. And it was just nice enough to sit and, just kind of chop it up. And I got to ask him some questions just about culture, building a program. And he was, he was so gracious in the feedback or just nuggets that he would share with me in terms of what the build's like and not selling your soul and sticking to your disciplines and building your program based on the things that are important, to you. I just remember thinking that, one, he didn't have to do that, and two, it was really cool moment for me because we were just in the early build, of this program at Indiana, and so and then I got to see him a little bit in San Antonio when I think we were out for 30 minutes last year. We had time to be out and about, but my relationship probably goes a little bit deeper with CD than Gino, but nonetheless, there's a tremendous amount of respect.
Come back to the left side, Alexa.
Alexa Philippou, ESPN. Coach, I know your team takes pride in its defense. UConn does as well. If you look at, I guess, the defensive matchups in this game, what will be key? What do you want to see from your team defensively against, the sort of offense that you just described?
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side of the ball, what makes you kind of tough team defensively?
Well, one of the things we want to do is keep them out of transition. And two ways you can do that is, one, by taking care of the basketball and not turning it over. And the second thing you do is you take great shots, right? That give you enough chance, whether they go in or whether they're soft misses, you get enough, time to get back in transition defense. So I think that's where it starts. And then probably the biggest key for us tomorrow will be keeping them off the offensive glass. UConn is not a team that you can give multiple opportunities to. If you do, they make you pay. And so the game's not hard, right? When you really break it down in terms of what we have to do to be in the game and to win the game, for against a really great offensive team. We have to be really solid in the half court. Again, I talked about their back cutting. I talked about their ability to pass and share the ball. And so a lot of what we have to do is protect the paint, keep our person above us, not get beat on back cuts, and make them take contested long twos. So, that's the game plan going in. And if they have to take a whole bunch of jump shots, outside jump shots, we feel like we may give ourselves a chance.
Ben Pickman, Sports Illustrated. You alluded in your opening statement to, obviously the crowd noise or what you expect the crowd to be tomorrow. Has that been something that has been a discussion point for you all this week? And if so, how does it kind of impact your preparation or your game plan or your communication out on the floor?
Yeah, well, now as far as the noise, as I said, and I know you guys obviously have paid attention to what happened over at Iowa the other night, or other day or last week when they hosted the first 2 rounds, and that place was sold out. It wasn't sold out, but it was dang near close to being sold out, in some of the times that, that we've been to Iowa. And so we understand the crowd noise. Does it make it challenging? Absolutely, because we have a lot of play calling going over on the sideline that's trying to go on. Now, what we did talk about in our preparation for this particular game is that Nikki is going to have to be our play caller. And so if we're not out in transition trying to get early buckets, then she has to be the one that's going to get us into whatever it is that we're going to, whether it's our motion, whether it's our continuity, whatever it is that we're running. The rest of them are going to have to echo the call and be on the same page. Because, like I said, there's going to be some noise in there tomorrow. But I will say this: that's the one thing about the Big Ten. It's prepared us for these moments right here, because we play in front of a lot of great fans in the Big Ten at other places, Indiana included, but other places on the road.
Seth Tao, Bloomington Herald Times. You've mentioned the Big Ten and teams you've faced, multiple times now. When you see talent on UConn, names like Beckers and Fudd, you gave Caitlin Clark 3 tough battles this season. Does it kind of help when you go up? You've done that. You've given her some trouble. A player of that caliber, does that kind of help when you go up and see these names on the other side?
I think it does, but I wouldn't limit it to just Kate, right? I mean, you look at the Maryland roster. Naz Hillman. I mean, I could go on and on down every roster, right? And talk about 2 or 3 terrific players on each one of those teams. But does it help? Probably. Like I said, we're battle tested. We've played against some really terrific players, whether it's the point, whether it's on the wing, whether it's at the stretch, whether it's inside at the 5 with Naz. I think we're prepared. I really do.
Final question, Pat.
Pat Eaton from the Associated Press. Coach, you haven't faced UConn, but you have faced Dorka Juhas a lot. She's playing such a different role with Connecticut. What do you think that she brings to this team, and the fact that they have Dorka and Olivia and Aaliyah in the post? How dangerous is that, and how do you combat that?
Yeah, well, she was dangerous at Ohio State, and trust me when I. The fact that she can score, she has the range. What I've watched in film with Dorka, though, is her. Now that she's at UConn, Gina's really been able to help grow her game in terms of being a facilitator. Because that's part of what they do offensively. She can still play with her back to the basket. Where she hurts you, though, is all the offensive glass. If you don't get a body on the inside of her and box her out, she can hurt you on the offensive glass. We know she can shoot it. She was a terrific player at Ohio State. I can only imagine with Gino and Chris, and that she's improved and she's gotten better. But that's what I'm watching when I'm seeing that she wasn't quite the facilitator passer with Ohio State that I think she's become with UConn.
Coach, thanks so much for your time
Thank
today.
you, guys.
Best of luck moving forward. For our media members, stay right here. We'll be back with our student athletes shortly. Continuing on with our Indiana press conference, now our student athletes, a senior forward, Alexa Goulbe, and graduate guard Ali Patberg. A reminder for our media members, please just raise your hand. We'll bring you over a microphone. Please identify yourself, name and media affiliate. Same for our friends on Zoom. If you have a question for our student athletes, please just use the raise hand function. We'll be able to get you in as well. At this time, we'll open it up for questions for our student athletes. Don't everyone raise their hand at once. Right here.
Alexa Philippou, ESPN. Allie, when there's a lot made of the experience your team has and that you in particular have, but when it comes down to being on the court at a stage like this, where do you feel like that experience comes through, generally speaking, the most often or the most strongly?
Yeah, I think, we are on a big stage, like you said, and so with that comes great teams. And so every team we play is a great team. They're really well coached. And we have, the experience we have, I think, is so important because when great teams are going to make great runs. And I think it's how we react, it's how we sustain, it's how we punch back, it's how we fight back, and to continue to stay locked in on our game plan. When they're in the midst of a run, do we stay disciplined in our game plan? Because it's easy to, start doing our own thing, deciding, different offensive plays or defensive executions. And so I would say just the experience in knowing that they are going to make runs, but we just have to sustain it and have our runs.
Come right up front.
For either of you, between hosting NCAA games and then the Big Ten tournament in Indianapolis, it's been a while since you've played on in an unfriendly crowd like this will likely be with a lot of UConn fans. I guess what's that shift going to be like, and what challenges could that present?
Alexa, start with you.
Thank you for the question. I think just knowing that we have each other, we have our team, and of course having fans and having that support off the court is huge, and us having the opportunity of hosting the first round was an amazing opportunity, and the fact that fans and students came out and supported us, it was just great. And but basketball is not only home games, as we know, and at this point, we're gonna have some fans over here, but obviously UConn will have a great crowd as well. But as Ali said, it's just at this point, it's just keeping to our scout and doing what the coaches prepare us to do and play the game.
Jackie.
Jackie Powell with Bleacher Report. This is a two-parter for both of you, if that's all right. So I'm curious as to how the defensive game plan changes against a team like UConn versus, let's say, a team like Iowa. Both have really talented guards. That's part one. And part two is Dorka Juhas is a familiar name to you all. How do you think her role at UConn has changed from, how you saw her when she was in the Big Ten?
Allie, why don't you start with guard play first?
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing about our team is we have been, we've played against a lot of different teams and different ways teams play offensively, their systems. We've faced a lot of different types of guards, dynamic guards that, are. We've had a lot of experience, and so we are going to approach it like we have any other game. They have athletic guards that can score. All of their guards can score on all three levels, and we have a game plan where we're going to pack the paint and stay under our man and have them hit tough shots. We're just going to make it difficult on them. They're a great team. They're very talented. And we know that, and so, yeah.
Alexa, how about their backcourt?
Yeah, Dorka is a great player. Oh, post. Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, I mean, they're tall, they're athletic, and it's just important, as Ali said, like stick to our game plan and pack the paint and make them make tough shots. Yeah.
I think a big key for us too is just rebounding, box out.
Yeah.
You know, they're a very talented team, and so we want to hold them to as, you know, one chance each possession as we can to help us out.
Alexa, seeing Dorka again.
Yeah. I know her. She's my friend, and she's a great player. She was a great player at Ohio State. She's a great player here, and I mean, you know, at this point, all players are great players, and if we want to move on, we got to be ready for that.
Go back to the left.
Matt Gillis, Fans Only Sports Network. What does it feel for you as players? Sedona sort of started this scream last year and everybody really took it, to now be sitting here with the March Madness branding behind you, with it on the court, and everyone finally realizing that women's sports do matter and people actually watch women's sports.
Allie, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'm thankful that she put that out there because, you know, we do the same thing the guys do. We work just as hard. We go through the tough schedules like they do. We endure a lot to get to this point. And so we're just thankful that we're here. It's really cool that March Madness is behind us because I grew up watching both teams, and I know what March Madness means. And for us to have that name when we play is pretty awesome. So I'm thankful for this opportunity. I'm thankful that, you know, she did do that.
Alexa, same question.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I saw a tweet that she was encouraged by one of her teammates to kind of take that step and show the public of basketball followers to just what were the inequalities that was happening in the men's tournament and then the women's tournament, and just for her to taking that step, it's a huge deal.
Go over to Ben.
Ben Pickman, Sports Illustrated. Allie, this is for you. Just Nicole, take us behind the curtain. What is she like as a leader? Are there moments in your mind that kind of jump out of, you know, her taking charge or her asserting herself? Yeah, what comes to mind there?
Yeah, I think, you know, Nikki, she is one of the most unique teammates I've had, in the sense of she's so driven and she's so competitive, but then like the very next play she can be so lighthearted. And for me, I enjoy that because I feel like I'm so like all the time in a game, and you know, when I can see her smile, it kind of loosens things up. But at the same time, like, you know, she's really intense defensively, offensively, and so it's just been a blast to have Nikki as a teammate these past 2 years, and she's taught me a lot. And she's taught me, you know, defensively, she just never gives up on a play. She gives us energy when we need it most, and so it's been awesome.
Keep to the right.
Yeah, Kevin Brockway, CNHI. For either player, you know, Gino Auriemma on the podium earlier said that he doesn't feel that Indiana gets the respect it deserves on a national level. I'm just curious if that's something that maybe you guys could take as another kind of chip in your shoulder into this matchup tomorrow.
Alexa, you first.
I would say definitely. I think the team that we are, the work that we put in, we just, you know, people just, I guess, don't see us enough. I don't see us as maybe that we are good enough for being on this stage that we are right now. And I don't know, but it's okay, you know? It's okay. It fuels us. It fuels us and motivates us to get to that, to take that next step, to get to that next level, to think about what we achieved last year and what we didn't achieve last year, you know? And we're still kind of like, you know, where's Indiana, you know? And I just think it's okay, so be it. It just fuels us, you know?
Pat?
Pat Eaton-Robb with the Associated Press. Alexa, could you go a little deeper into your relationship with Dorka? Where did you guys meet? How far back do you go? You say you're friends. You know, do you text? Do you text during the season? If you text before the game, and what is it about her game that you think you can exploit?
A lot of questions, Pat.
Oh, okay. This is a great question too. Questions. Yeah. So I'm from Latvia, and I have been playing for the youth national teams, all of them, and with older kids as well. And when we play Hungary, she was always there, you know. So we've played against each other a couple of times, plenty of times, and now coming to America, I see her in Ohio State, you know, and it's a funny thing. I don't know if she liked it, if she likes if I say this out loud. She texted me when the brackets came out, and no, actually after the first round, she texted me and she was like, "I thought I was gonna get away from you guys." You know, it's just funny relationship that, you know, all the Europeans that we've played against each other on the national teams, and you know, we're not very, very close, but just because we are from overseas, it kind of connects us, and there's that relationship. Yeah. So yeah.
Final question, Jackie.
Hi, Jackie Powell again from Bleacher Report. Allie, a question for you. Just expanding upon the question you got earlier about the name change in March Madness. I'm curious if you can walk me through how you believe how women's college basketball has been received by a mainstream audience, and how that has changed from when you started, because you've been playing for a long time. So from, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
So from when you've started up until now, you know,
Yeah.
besides the name change, what are some other stark changes that you've noticed in that span?
Yeah, I think I was thinking about this the other day, actually. You know, the women's game might not be as athletic. We might not get up and down as fast, jump as high. But I think one thing that just the audience that has been watching our games have noticed is that we bring the same intangibles. We play just as hard. We play with heart. We play with passion. We execute. And I think that the more that our games are being seen by a large audience, the more they're understanding that it is enjoyable to watch, even if we don't show the same athletic abilities. And I think, there are some women that, can jump as high. I'm not one of them, but I do know that I bring those intangibles, and it's fun to watch because you can see how much we pour into the sport, and how much we pour into one another and into the game, and how much we love it and how much passion we have. And I think just the opportunities that we have had to be on a national stage, ESPN, channels that they're able to see us, it's like, oh, they are enjoyable to watch. And I think it's just more of they're getting the chance to see it now. And I'm thankful for that, because we do play it the same way, I believe. So, yeah.
Allie, Alexa, we're thankful for your time today. Have fun and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of our media members for your attendance today. That wraps up our press conference session. We'll see you back here tomorrow.